call, please.
Lois Tiley, Diane Dennis,
Here.
Christine Newman, Richard Horner,
Here.
Michael Nesbitt,
Present.
Kathy Harris,
Present.
and Sarah Tiley. Here.
Okay. Are there any adjustments to the agenda as presented?
No, sir.
If so, is there a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Support?
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Announcements and public comment. Anybody got any comments? Okay. Let's move on to Mr. John with the Spicer report.
Well, good evening. I'll update you on what's going on with our drinking water asset management plan first. We did have crews out in the field over the last few weeks, and we did a field verification of the 174 locations that we need to do inspections on the water services for the drinking water asset management plan. We are in the process of reviewing all those records and putting the bidding document together for hydrovac services. And we want to get that bid out maybe in December, January. And the contractors are looking to possibly work over the winter, doing some of that work. They said it would be good winter work, as long as it's above 25 degrees, you know, they can work doing that. So we'd be looking at potentially doing that over the winter here. So, it was very nice to have the DPW went out ahead of our crews and located a lot of the water shutoffs, and it was very easy for our crews to pick those up, and they actually flew through it a lot quicker than I thought they were going to. So thanks, Don, for the assistance. The phase one water system project, we are getting close to getting that design buttoned up. We want to walk the project again here in the next week or so, a couple weeks here. Get Don's guys out again and walk it one more time. We'll be ready to submit to Eagle for the construction permit, I'm in December sometime. And just talking to Hart here, looks like we'll be finalizing the rural development application early next year. So there's some positive things happening with that phase one water project too. Okay, last month, we decided that we wanted to review your public utilities over the next few months. This month, I'm gonna take 5 minutes to talk about your water system. I did hand out a packet, got a brief history of your water system. It was originally developed in 1914, believe it or not. A lot of those pipes were wood pipes, and Don still finds some once in a while when they're digging, and I think you got a chunk of that back at the DPW barn.
None are in service.
None are in service. So, 1973 is when he connected to the City of Saginaw Water Supply and joined the James Swan Creek Village of St. Charles Water Supply. 89, the new elevated tank went online. And then there's some other items that we've completed. We did the water system reliability study, which was looking at your 5-year and 20-year needs and doing computer modeling of the hydraulics of the system, making sure the pipes are sized right and so forth. This map right here is what came out of that reliability study. And it was the 3 phases of the water system construction that we want to do. We did the Fulton and Hosmer project last year, which is that red project. And then the orange project is the phase 1, and the green is the phase 2 that we're looking at sometime in the future. So I will actually leave that there for you guys to enjoy later. So, going through this packet a little bit. The second page is just an inventory of your water system. There's an inventory by size, by material, and by age. Most of your system was put in prior to 1980. So the system is aging. Back in the nineties, we did a project that, was bonded and was recently paid off within the last few years. Most of the pipe material is, transite or AC pipe and a lot of cast iron pipe. A lot of the improvements that we are looking here are directed towards the cast iron pipes, which are generally smaller in diameter, and they tend to corrode and get smaller in diameter on the inside and restrict flow. So we're focusing on the cast iron pipes and replacing those. Back in 2017, we did a water asset management report that was required by Eagle. It was the DPQ back then. The reason I wanted to include this is because it does have your level of service statement that the village has adopted, and it's got the level of service, basically your mission statement and your goals for the water system. Your statement is the Village of St. Charles is committed to operating a financially stable, high-performing water distribution system that provides a community with a reliable service while minimizing service interruptions to its water customers, and strives to meet local, state, and federal regulatory requirements at a reasonable and fair cost to our customers. So that's your objectives. So, the next sheet is just a snippet of your capital improvement plan. And this was from the 2017 asset management report. And it outlines some of the capital improvements that were listed in the 1996 study that were completed over the years. You did Walnut Street and Spruce Street, a section of M52, looped School to Spruce Street. Those were all back in 97. Entrepreneur Drive, we did that extension back in 2000. Sanderson Street in 2003, and Bell Avenue down by the cemetery there by the curve where Dick was just talking about. We did that back in 2013. So. The next sheet, there's a
Excuse me.
loop, yes.
Didn't we do Beaver Road and North Street?
Yes, we did. This is
What?
actually from the old study.
Okay,
So
because
some
we
of
did it
these-
once and then we did it again.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
so these, some of these have been updated since
Okay.
then. So, the next sheet is a little map that's kinda hard to read, but I wanted to include that because from the asset management plan, it's all of the older pipes that need attention. Anything that's in red on this map is an older pipe that needs attention, and as you can see, there's a lot of it on this map.
Is there another color on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, yellow and green.
Oh.
Yellow and green.
Where are those?
Downtown is red.
Downtown is red, and it corresponds a lot to that map right there. But I wanted to include that because as a part of the asset management report, we actually did a numerical rating of all the water system assets, and we did a risk assessment on it and calculated the likelihood of failure and the consequence of failure, and went through a whole exercise on all the pipes, all the hydrants, the tower, the meter pit, all of the water system assets. And so that helped us to develop that phased water system improvement, capital improvement plan.
So the green is good?
The green is good,
Okay. The yellow is in between?
yellow is in between.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm yellow.
Yellow and stuff.
Yeah.
The next snippet
You
is from the rate study that was done as a part of, that was done in conjunction with the SAW grant.
Throw it.
So I wanted just to include this budget forecast that was put together as a part of the rate study. This rate study was done by Municipal Analytics in conjunction with the wastewater saw grant project. And with that, there were recommendations. We updated the rate structure to charge the larger water meters more than the residential smaller water meters and distribute the cost more towards some of those larger users. I would encourage you to go back to that report around budget time and make sure you're hitting the goals that you set forth. It would be a good exercise to go through.
And Don, you said that the city of Saginaw is raising their water rates 9 to 10%?
That was what it was for the 3-year average the
Yep.
last time.
Okay.
Which I don't see it going down.
But you don't know when they'll do it.
Well, the rate increases are always August 1st, I believe, 'cause that's their fiscal.
Oh, they
year.
set a date now and they follow it?
Well, for usually 3 years in a row, and then.
Okay,
I think that's what they've been doing, 3 years.
okay.
I guess
Because they used to say it and then actually do it like 10 years later.
Well, they've been pretty, well, they'll usually give us, tell us in for a meeting, tell us what's
Okay.
coming, and then.
Okay,
It's
because
really
we just
not-
went through a phase there where they just kind of forgot about it.
No, they're not forgetting about it.
Okay. No,
Next thing I have included is just a copy of your preliminary distribution system materials inventory, which is another thing that Eagle required of the community. This was a review of your records, your as-built plans, any drawings that are at the DPW, and we had to report, especially water services materials. And when this was put together, Don said that 867 water services were unknown material. And because of that, you got the grant to do the distribution system asset management plan. So
Okay.
that's why we got that large grant to do the water services inventory, was because of this preliminary distribution system materials inventory.
and all we were telling them is we don't really know.
All you're telling them is you didn't really know. Now, that needs to be followed up by 2025 with the
With how many we
completed.
really know.
Yep, and that's why we're doing the hydro backing and the inspections on the water services.
Okay, so are you going to like estimate it out and assume that other than the 176, the rest of them are kind
Yes,
of the same?
yes, what we'll be doing is a statistical analysis.
Okay,
And the Eagle has set up a whole process to do that, so we'll be following Eagle's process.
so they made you pick people from different colors? You know, red, green, yellow?
No,
No?
no,
They didn't.
we took the entire list of water customers,
So these people could all be in red?
we assigned them all a random number, and it's completely random, this
Oh.
list of water services that we
Okay.
have to do. So there's 174 we have to inspect, and they were all developed randomly.
Okay, now when you got to one that had the thing in the driveway or wherever, did you just drop them from that list or did you drop them from the list and add somebody else on?
We got their information and dropped them from the list and went to the next one. And so,
So you didn't go above, oh, but you had more than 176 on the list?
we had 200 on our list.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep,
And with Chris, the way it ended out, it was pretty randomly spread across
Yep.
the whole village.
Was
But,
it?
and
Okay.
that's my question, so you're gonna do statistical analysis based on Eagle's formula, but how will we use that knowing that we know one side of town has older materials than a certain set of time, or we're just not gonna worry about
well,
that?
because what we will do is we will look at the system and we'll know that, this percentage is cast iron.
Okay,
And so we'll know that based on what we have found, if it's on a cast iron main, it's probably galvanized water service, and there's a 87% probability
in that area, okay.
that if it's cast iron, it's galvanized. If it's a PVC water main, there's 100% probability that it's copper.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so that's how we'll end up doing that. The next sheet is just an example of the completed distribution system materials inventory that's due in 2025. So I just wanted to share that with you. Another thing that's come down is the lead and copper rule, and I stole this from Eagle's website, and it's just a little bit of information about the changes that happened in 2018 with the lead and copper rule, and that was a direct result of what happened in Flint. There are some, these inventories are part of that. Don has some new sampling requirements that they have to do. It's pretty comprehensive, this new lead and copper rule. They dropped the maximum contaminant level from, I believe it was 50 down to 15. So parts per billion.
Parts per billion.
15 to 10.
Yeah. So, the next sheet is something else I got from Eagle.
And you have to do all this stuff? You have to, for every house you do all this stuff?
No, not,
They're gonna do it like over,
we have a plan where we sample out of which you're part of. And we,
oh, that thing that we do?
yeah,
Okay,
and we had to double the amount of houses we sample, and we have to do it
Yep.
every year now instead of every 3 years.
okay.
How many do you sample?
10 now.
10?
It used to be 5 every 3 years.
Yep.
It's 10 every year now.
Okay.
And then the last thing I included was just a little bit of information about galvanized water services. We know that, oh, you don't have that in there?
I do.
Page before.
I'm on the wrong
It's
side.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. So, just a little bit of information about galvanized water services. You do have galvanized in town. Galvanized themselves are not bad. However, in some instances, they did tie the galvanized into the water main with a little piece, with a little lead gooseneck. And so, if there was ever that little lead gooseneck, that galvanized water service is considered a lead water service, and it needs to be replaced. And there's a timetable for the notification of the property owner, there's a timetable for getting it replaced. And those are all things that we'll be following when we do the inspections later this winter and get an inventory of those 774 locations.
Okay, if it has one of those little things, are we gonna replace it all the way into the house?
It is required
That you
to
replace
replace
it
it
all the way?
all the way from
It's
the main
considered lead.
to at least 18 inches or to the first shut-off inside the house.
At whose expense?
At the village's expense. It cannot be put on the
I think
homeowner.
somebody's giving us money for this, aren't they? In that new
Yeah.
thing they just passed,
Yeah,
maybe?
hopefully.
That was one of the big changes. It used to be we were only responsible to the property line.
That's
Yep.
right. It was that way forever.
And we still only are if it's copper or plastic.
Yep,
If
Oh,
it's-
really? Okay.
Yep.
But if it's galvanized or lead, we.
Yep.
We have to make it right.
Yep.
yep.
From your experience, if you've got copper coming into the meter from your side, is it feasible to assume you got copper all the way out to the shut-off?
Usually, yeah, if it's coming, typically if it's coming to the curb box, it's
Got
copper.
about 6 feet sticking in.
So,
Go pull that flag out of my yard.
so those galvanized services are really kind of what we're targeting. And if those galvanized were ever connected to lead, they are considered a lead service. And so we will be looking for those, identifying those, and replacing those. So with that.
Can those run backwards?
What's that, Chris?
Can it run backwards into the system?
Typically, no.
No.
It's under pressure, no.
Okay.
The only way it ever could is if you lost pressure and then it
Right.
back going down.
Rare.
That's not typical.
Okay.
So, I wanted to try to keep that brief. I could sit here and talk for 2 hours. So,
Pretty good.
any questions that you have, I'd be happy to answer. Next month, we're gonna talk about sewer.
Oh, boy.
Sounds like fun.
Something different.
So if there's nothing else, thank you and
No, thank you.
have a good Thanksgiving.
You too.
Thank you, John.
Thanks.
Thank you, John.
very informative.
Two things. Two things. I don't know.
Council minutes approval. Minutes from October 13th. Is there any questions or changes for the minutes for that date? If not, do I hear a motion to approve and make minutes from October 13th?
I'll make a motion, we approve October 13th village council minutes.
I'll second.
Support? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to commission and committee reports, the Downtown Development Authority of November 5th. Any questions on those minutes?
No, but it's nice to see they ordered some new banners for the poles uptown.
Mhm. Did anybody see the ones that they got over in Shields?
No,
With their pictures of, and the name of, a person who has, died in the, war.
oh, do they have them up just for
Yes.
today?
No, they had him up all weekend,
Okay.
when I seen, last week actually, when I seen them, and I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And I assume they're all people from, ones I see were gentlemen from Shields, you know? I thought, geez, that's really cool, that.
But I don't know if I showed you guys what it's gonna be.
Next item is your planning commission.
Yeah.
October-
This is,
This is,
this is one of them. I don't know if you can see it, but it's,
yeah.
Home of the Brave, and then Welcome to St. Charles, and then every other one. It'll be, let me see if I can zoom a little bit.
Aren't they talking about putting something on the bottom of them?
Land of the Free,
Yeah, welcome to St. Charles, I think goes on the bottom.
and we'll space them out, and I'm
Every
looking
other?
at something Bulldog related or something different, or seasonal in between.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, very nice.
The ones up there now are just faded,
Yeah, they're getting a
little
little.
cat farm.
Planning commission, October 21st. Any questions on those minutes?
Sounds like they're discussing some marijuana stuff.
We will be discussing more next week.
Scott. Scott, you're the one that was talking to them about a primary caregiver type thing?
We want to get the Atlas Township's medical marijuana ordinance in place here. Because it gives us the ability to enforce the state regs that we otherwise don't have the ability to do without bringing the state in, which just doesn't happen. So, it's a pretty simple process once we get it in. Then it gives us clear and defined regulations that we can use to enforce against any of the medical marijuana growers that are growing for caregiver purposes only.
Okay, this is not allowing people to grow marijuana type thing.
Pardon?
It's not allowing people to, we're not bringing marijuana into St. Charles right
well,
now.
okay.
No,
Caregiver medical marijuana was not an option that we could opt in or opt out of
Okay,
for the state of Michigan. You don't have a choice.
okay,
You can regulate, however, where they can or can't do it in the village.
okay,
So if you tell them it's only allowed in a B1 or a industrial area, then that's the only way or only place it can happen.
okay.
So that's the only way we can regulate it. We can't say no, state won't.
Okay.
So,
I was just curious, 'cause I've been to Chesaning and
Oh, yeah.
it's not good in Chesaning, the smell over there,
Yeah.
so.
no, it is not.
Yeah.
And the township's looking at adopting the same ordinance.
Okay,
Brant Township already has.
Have they?
Chapin's looking at it too.
Okay. I make a motion, we accept the DDA and Planning Commission, minutes as presented.
Thank you. Support?
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're now down to the payment of claims.
I just wanna say one thing first. Congratulations, I think that's the most money we've ever had.
Now I'm trying to spend it a little bit.
I know it's not gonna last long, but
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thanks.
That is a good number.
It's a nice number.
Yes, I noticed it.
Very nice.
Now it's time to push it out.
Yeah,
We can bounce back.
yeah.
No one had made a motion to.
Trying to
No, I had a
get more
question.
questions.
Oh, okay.
What page are you on?
I'm on page 2, I do believe. What is CoreLogic centralized refunds?
That was,
I mean, I know it's a company, but what is it?
that was a overpayment of taxes. So CoreLogic is like an escrow company, and they had sent.
Oh, they had a whole bunch of them.
Yes, yep, there was
Okay.
multiple parcels involved in that refund.
I just never heard of it before, so it's an escrow company.
Yes, they're a
So
very
all the
large-
taxes been in a big chunk.
Yes, yep, they send Marguerite
Okay.
like pages and pages and pages, and
Well, it
then
looks like it from
multiple
the amounts
checks.
that are here, so,
Yep.
okay.
There might have been 3 or 4 parcels.
Did they double pay?
A couple of them were double paid, and then a couple of them, I believe, were sales. So it did get like double pay,
Yeah.
and then a couple of them where people came in and actually physically paid us, forgetting that they had a
An
escrow.
escrow account?
Yep.
Okay. That's all I had.
Any other questions? Can I hear a motion to pay the bills?
I make a motion to approve the payment of claims in the amount of $126,945.17.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to new business, a public hearing to establish industrial development district.
We are continuing the process to do it legally. This is PA 198 of 1974, which sets up tax incentives to manufacturers. You have to do it before any potential buyer would come in and receive those tax purchases, credits, I should say. So this is beginning the process so that the new boatworks would be in the IDD, or Industrial Development District. The only person that reached out regarding this is the owner of the building, who wanted to let me know that they did, although it is for sale, they did signed a 3-year lease with Hemlock Semiconductor, just a lease, but I let him know that he wanted to know what was going on. I said we might have a potential suitor for that building, and we're getting ready to set that up for them. And well, I don't know anything about this. Well, you will when you receive the money, if it does come to fruition. So
How long did these last?
they go. I'd have to look, but I know they expire.
Well, the one we had before, I think went for 12 years.
Yeah, I'd have to look.
But I think we set that. You set it up. I mean,
It'll be
you
based
set it up and then you decide how many years you're gonna give it to them for.
based on what the incentive is,
Mhm.
which at this time we don't know.
Yep. Okay.
I have seen in Detroit. I think they did one for, I don't know, 26 million over 10 years. They did one, like, it was something crazy.
Well, I think almost everybody downtown took one out.
Really.
Yeah, if you go back and just look at the tax rolls, there's a whole section of 198s and it's downtown. Or it might have a different number, I'm not sure. They got tax cuts.
Yep.
Do we have to, close and open the public hearing? I make a motion, we close the regular meeting and open the public hearing for the 198.
Support?
Yes.
In favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion approved.
how you open the public hearing and
Now-
ask if there's any comment.
Okay. Now, can we get a motion to open the public hearing for?
No, we just had that.
We just have it, okay. Let's, open the public hearing for,
Anybody have any comments?
does anybody have any comments? So, for, I never did this
Yeah,
before.
yeah, this is fun. Oops, no comments.
Apparently no comments. Now we close the meeting, or public hearing?
Yes,
Need a motion for that?
I'll make a motion, we close the public hearing and go back to our regular session.
Support?
Yes,
All those in favor?
Aye,
Motion carried.
just a formality.
I guess, okay. Where do we go now?
Well,
You got me out here.
okay,
Going dang.
I make a motion, does anybody have any questions of what we're doing on the council?
Do any of us really know?
No? Okay. I make a motion that we pass resolution number 21-11 to establish industrial development district.
Support.
Does the district
Support?
need a number?
I think it goes off its tax description or
Okay.
property number.
The support for the motion.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So the district's just that one parcel. that's all.
Yeah.
I believe the entrepreneur is already within one. I know Old What Works had their own IDD.
They did, but they're gone now.
Yeah.
No questions? I do, where do we go now?
The next thing on the agenda. What? We just
When,
passed that.
when do you vote on that?
We just did.
I'm supposed to then,
Oh, then
Roll
do
call.
that.
I'd like to have a roll call for that
Okay.
resolution.
Lois Kylie,
yes.
You got
Diane
somebody?
Dennis?
Yeah, Debbie.
Yes.
Christine Newman,
Yes.
Richard Horner,
Yes.
Michael Nesbitt,
Yes.
Kathy Harris,
Yes.
and Sarah.
Yes.
Thanks. Motion carried. Okay, now we'll move on to the next one item on the agenda. And that is the American Rescue Plan Act funds.
So I've kind of been inundating your emails with ARP information on what funds we received and how much and what other municipalities are doing. I've supplied Excel spreadsheets or graphs from Excel based on what other municipalities are discussing. For instance, most villages, 78% that were in the MML and the ICMA survey said they were gonna use their funds for water and sewer improvements or infrastructure improvements. 30% were gonna go with public safety equipment, 25% broadband infrastructure, so I think it's now the time we start discussing, as we have received our first payment, on how we would like to spend these funds. We received over $99,000 two Fridays ago, or last Friday, 2 Fridays ago. But we received the same payment next year on the exact same date.
And for how many years after that?
At this time, none.
That's it?
For now.
Okay.
But they are pretty stringent on what you can use it for, and I supplied you information regarding uses, allowable uses versus prohibited. You cannot use it for your pension contributions, although that would be nice. You cannot replenish your budget stabilization fund or your rainy day fund, or legal settlements or outstanding debts, nor new debts, as I look at the future water projects.
Yep.
So there are allowable uses. I think we should focus the first payments on replenishing public safety, using these funds to add officers part-time. We do have interviews next week with 4 candidates viable candidates, and I think we should use these funds as their pay, whomever, or if somebody is chosen. I don't imagine it would go over, I think we set a kind of a number at what we think it would cost, under $40,000. So I think that would be the first start where I would like to use these funds, is to add to our police department. Although I really want a kayak launch, it's not these funds that I think are best used to that. I'll keep working on that on the grant side.
Jim got it.
Originally, I wanted to purchase a police vehicle with these funds, but it's not allowed, due to the fact that we cannot prove, and I've tried using their formula and a 4.1% inflation rate to prove that we had a loss of revenue. Therefore, I think it would be wise to use the funds for the public safety person, and perhaps we save funds that we already budgeted for somebody, and use those funds towards a new vehicle that is in the capital improvement plan.
Are we going over that tonight later too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I'll go first. I went through and I only circled 2 things. Make necessary investments in water, sewer, it says in broadband infrastructure, and rehiring public sector staff. Now, do you think that means if we let somebody go, we can rehire them?
No, I think
Okay.
it means people who during COVID were let go for one reason or another, or if they had
Oh,
to diminish
okay.
due to the pandemic, that you can add back staff.
Because I've got on mine a full-time police officer, if we could get to it. I mean, it's $99,000 sitting out there.
And I think we discussed that, and it's kind of interesting. We discussed it, and I believe you said that several want to just be part-time. Is that not true, or
We,
the few that have applied?
yeah, we've got a few that have applied that are interested in part-time and a few that have applied that are interested in full-time. So, the dynamics right now are putting us in I think a very, I'm excited about the opportunity to actually have it right now, because there's 6 new law enforcement available. So we're gonna interview people, see where people are at, see what they're wanting to do, and really see how to make that work in this, fiscal budget.
Now, is it, like, do we have to spend that 99,000 before April 1st?
Nope, we
Okay.
have until 2025, and then we will be
Okay.
audited between
So you
25 and
could
26.
theoretically hire a couple of part-time, one that might want to be a full-time, one that, or however you want to put them together.
Mhm.
And if one of them turns out fantastic, then we could offer them a full-time position type of thing, is what I was thinking.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
That's a good
the
idea.
water sewer part,
We could use the
we could
99.
always use some money in there.
Well, I was talking to John recently and previous to tonight, I think that 99, so when we end up going for our phase 1, we add 100,000 to whatever we were gonna do in the initial phase, and there's that 99 gone right there, but at the same time, it either adds on or helps us get towards phase 2.
And I'll tell you, if we're thinking of using them for a police officer, we have to make sure that we can keep them on when the 299,000s are gone.
Correct.
Because you can't, it's just like you can never put police in revenue sharing, because you have no idea how much money's gonna be in there.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure we have the money for it. Yeah.
Hence I was going for the part-time, cause I know I can budget for that very easily. And
Well, I think it's always been in there, we
Yeah.
just have never used it.
yeah, I think, true, and I think this, by using the capital improvement plan for perhaps the vehicle and using these funds, it's almost revenue neutral next year, because the car's not gonna be here, as we've learned with the dump truck, until next year, almost budget time anyway.
Once you lease a car, all you have is a payment, and you can put that payment in the budget.
Right.
Because the car should be under a maintenance agreement for as long as you have it, if you're gonna have it 3 years.
Yeah. Are we thinking of moving with the lease, or just going forward with just straight payment, or do you wanna hold off to talk about that in a little bit?
Yeah.
Or next?
We can
talk, we can
about it a little
intermingle.
bit.
Do you want a lease, or are you thinking purchase? What is the thought process there?
Um, The only benefit to the lease is we've, spoken with, other departments and the dealership is that, initial payment is less, but they have, a maintenance schedule for 3 to 5 years, even on the new vehicles. So when you purchase them, so either way, you end up with that vehicle and you end up with a maintenance.
Oh, you do, it's not like a
Yes.
normal person.
That's correct.
Okay.
It's not, yeah, so, but we can
Okay.
discuss it further. So for us to purchase it up front, at least when we look at the revenue and equaling that out is a good option for us. And then and it does come with that maintenance.
And this is to constantly have, well, let's talk about it later.
Yep.
Okay.
Anybody else find anything in there they'd like to spend money on?
I was looking at the health services.
Oh.
I really would like to see us get
AED.
the health back again, you know? The
Oh, you mean
health
the health department to come back
Yeah,
out here?
Yeah. I don't know how much that would be, and I don't know what's going on with it, but I just thought, you know, it would be so nice for people that really need those services, a lot of times don't have a car. And then they can walk over to the health department, but, you know, it's awful hard to walk just thing in the middle of the winter, you know? And that's just a thought, you know, not written in stone or anything, just a thought of some use for it.
Well, yeah, and then for that, you'd have to look into the,
What the Saginaw would do. blah, blah, blah,
yeah, the health
you know.
department in Saginaw would have a
Yeah.
lot to say about that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. I just thought if we'd throw some money at them, they might consider us again.
except the building's gone.
Yeah, the building's gone, so you have to do it in my backyard.
Yeah.
But it's a thought.
You could do it in the Stoughton building, it could be a hospital.
What is it?
We could put it in the Stoughton building, it
Oh,
could be a
yeah,
hospital.
yeah. Isn't that a shame?
I know.
See that gone, oh, it's been here since long as I can remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was my grandpa's grocery store back in the early,
Oh, yeah.
late 1800s.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow, wow, wow.
my great grandpa's
Wow.
in Belmont.
Is anything else on that rescue plan, or rescue,
What
plan?
did you think, Diane?
I honestly think, you know, with the audit
Okay.
and trying to follow their rules, which are, they're still defining, I think we stay safe. Don't open us up to anything out of the norm and stick with water and sewer and hiring staff, which we can prove in an audit, which is easy to run those numbers and send off to them, and it helps us in the long run.
But right at this time, we don't have to make any decisions on this right now, it's just for
No, it's-
food
it-
for thought.
Yep, a lot of municipalities are making decisions and starting the process of determining what they, how and what they wanna use them for.
As we go along, if we come up with something, we can bring it to you and
Absolutely, and the fact, we have approved another part-time police officer, and so we will be interviewing next week. And so
I'm
as we
glad
go
to
through this
hear
meeting,
that.
pardon?
I'm real glad to hear that.
So next week, or later in the meeting, we can determine
Application.
perhaps how we spend some of those dollars if we are to make a decision this evening.
Is this the time to bring up the interviews for the police, or is there something else on here?
Police is next.
you get the police car.
Police vehicle. The police vehicle, no, that's not what I'm looking for.
It is in my report as well, so.
Yes, that's where I
Yeah,
want
That's where
yeah,
you've
we'll-
seen it.
we'll-
Okay,
we can
yep.
talk about that.
Did you want us to, make some kind of a decision at what way we're looking to go? Or is it fine just the way it is?
I think we're fine for now.
Okay.
As we discuss the next item, I mean, we're good either way, as we discussed financially, we're pretty stable.
Okay,
It's not free money by any means, but it is money that otherwise we wouldn't have. And so I wanna utilize it to the best of our abilities and, and a clean audit.
Mm-hmm. This doesn't allow us to buy a police car, right?
No, we would have to show revenue loss. Yeah, I crunched numbers.
You said that, okay.
Yeah, I tried to make it look like we lost revenue.
Same thought process.
Yeah,
going on.
but not enough to justify it.
Well, looking at the police car.
Okay.
Moving on to the police car, you have two concepts here, I assume, it looks like.
Correct?
Maybe Julie would like to exploit upon them.
It'll be different prices.
Well, technology is a mind-boggling thing to me. These cars recharge themselves as you hit the brakes, and as they idle, they recharge themselves. It's quite phenomenal. But we looked at a regular vehicle, the Interceptor, and we also looked at it in a hybrid, and had a good conversation with there's 3 other small departments in the county that use the hybrids, and did a little comparison on hybrid fuel efficiency, wear and tear on the vehicle compared to a regular, just fuel vehicle. And so that's what you see in front of you is the signature for it and their information. We did talk to a few other car dealerships. This dealership has what's called a state bid. So they purchase vehicles for 80% of the state, and they, as far as law enforcement vehicles, so they get the best price. There's 3 organizations that have the state bid, one in Detroit, one in Grand Rapids, and then Signature Ford. And so, price-wise, the comparison, I didn't give him any other ones, but there's just no comparison in price. So that's why you only have 1 instead of 3, just to start with on that.
I'm taking it, the 35,000 is the hybrid.
That's correct.
No, I don't understand about cars, but are those the ones that run on batteries and then flip over to gas if you have to?
That's correct. Law enforcement vehicles, often we idle, and you understand the wear and tear on vehicles of idle plus fuel usage. So that's why I said I'm amazed at the technology that this hybrid vehicle, as it idles, it recharges its own battery.
Okay,
So you don't plug it in anywhere.
and it's not
You
using
send it-
gas.
That's correct, yeah. And it's also not running the engine.
Yeah,
So
okay,
that
it's just
wear and
idling, okay.
tear, yeah, so that wear and tear is very different on a hybrid. And even when we drive around the village, within a 2-mile radius, going 35 miles an hour, we're still not activating the fuel part of that vehicle. Sometimes we gotta hit the gas to get to a medical or something, then we'll use fuel, but there's just very little fuel usage in comparison to the
And nobody will
non-hybrids.
hear you coming.
They will hear the sirens.
I know,
They
but
will.
they won't know where you are, 'cause they won't hear it.
My thought on that is, for $3,100 difference, the gas bill that's
It's just
gonna
kind of
go
a
up
no choice
with,
thing, yeah.
the current,
Oh, I used to
crisis.
run around here all the time going, that car is running out there. It's been running out there for 2 hours.
Well, I'm pretty particular about that. When it's at the department, it's not running.
Oh, they left it
I-
running all the
Yeah,
time.
I won't do that. This is the wear and tear on, it's
Catch
it's
the
difficult.
door.
Well,
Yeah, when it's, and that's the other
No, I
technology
think that's what they were
changes.
yeah,
doing.
the
Yeah.
computers,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
computers stay booted up, and if they have to go in a hurry,
Yeah,
That's right.
it all just keeps itself warm, it keeps itself, with my computers running and everything, it's the hybrid, it does all that without the fuel consumption. So, yeah, it's just an incredible change. In a large media department, it wouldn't be as significant, but I think we're gonna just see a pretty significant difference.
And an all-wheel drive is a bigger, that's a, what do you call those? What I've got out there, what is that called?
SUV.
SUV.
SUV, are they SUVs?
It would be an Explorer, yes, it's the same, we have an Explorer and a
Okay.
Taurus right now.
It's not a regular car.
No,
It is a
it's not a Crown
regular
Victoria or
SUV.
nothing like that.
No,
Okay.
it is the Ford Explorer, it is the SUV, but it is kind of special, cause it's still the police interceptor, so, you know, if we need to go, then.
Well, I just wanted to make sure it was big enough. We could,
200 horsepower
Thankfully,
electric
yeah,
motor.
Yeah.
you mean bigger than the Taurus that
Yes.
only kids can fit in the back?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, they're actually, there's only one, vehicle still being made that's a sedan, and that's
Okay.
the Charger, anymore by any company, they're all going to SUV
Okay.
vehicles, so. Or trucks, which.
Art, I have a question.
Yes, Kathy?
Are you looking to changing the color from white to black?
That was my next question, you stole it, but I'll
I
allow
know
it.
it does say black on there.
So-
Yeah, we aren't looking at black, we're considering kind of a metallic gray, maybe instead of the white. We've got no decision made on color at this point in time. We were joking though.
Felt like we're joining Federspill's
Yeah.
group.
Oh, yeah, I love the look of the black and white, I'm not gonna lie, but, you know, we don't need to copy the county for sure.
And I like the look of the white and black.
Vehicle, Marguerite has a white vehicle, Jen has a white vehicle, I have a white vehicle, we pull in, we all have white vehicles, and we pull the white patrol cars out, and they all go together, so we were kinda joking with that, earlier to break that up. But being able to, we've got the opportunity to maybe look at, I don't think I wanna do black, I don't think we need to do black in town, I don't think black stays as clean looking
It's
either.
horrible.
doesn't, at all.
Yeah, so,
Those
yeah.
white ones look
The
nice.
white ones look
yeah,
cleaner.
the white looks nice and, so we're kinda looking at color still, we're looking at, maybe changing up the logo on the side of it as well. So those are things that we'll just kinda, give you some ideas and show you guys some things before any of that changes, but.
Besides that, you don't have to wash the white ones as often.
Well,
And the other,
sometimes you
Yeah.
do.
and if we
Yeah.
did order or approve this evening, the earliest it would be here would probably be February at the earliest,
Okay.
and then you think about,
Well, you don't put anything on it till you get it.
Right, so that's
the price that
February.
come with it,
so
is
then
that
we're already
color.
in March by the time we're using it probably, so.
So they said that to get this pricing is to be purchased by the end of November, and they anticipated in February, which surprised me, cause I thought we would be like a year out. But, the way the ordering that they do for the state bid is a little bit different, so these vehicles get a little, advantage to just a regular
Maybe they come
vehicle.
from this country. They're not on a ship somewhere.
That's
In the
very
Pacific.
Isn't it
possible.
funny with the Toyota out
So-
there?
But it does say black, but that was just
Pardon?
to be able,
What was that,
I'm
Mike?
sorry, Art, do we know what the plan is for the other vehicles that we have, the other patrol vehicles?
we discussed that briefly. The car dealership said you could turn it in. He said you could, we would give you some money for it. You're gonna get a lot more money selling it yourself. So we kinda discussed that and really didn't come up with a definite answer yet.
You might keep them.
But we could keep one, yes.
Mhm.
And have a third vehicle. Chief could have their own, like, take-home car or something.
No,
But, no, so, you know, but there's options, we don't, we own them now, so, it's not like we have to, make a decision right away in order to move forward on the purchase of
Are
one.
they nickel and diming us right now?
No,
State bid, so
they have their issues, but they actually haven't been,
You mean the cars?
yeah.
Depends on the month.
Yeah, you can look over, you know, there's regular maintenance that we've been pretty good about doing, but, you know, when things come up, I haven't hit any deer this year, so we haven't dealt with that.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
yeah.
I have another
Sorry.
question.
Yeah, yes, Kathy.
I don't know if this is kind of minor or whatever, but it says here, on the one for 32,000, first and second row carpet floor covering. Are you looking to put carpeting in there? That's not a good idea.
But what you're saying
My
is what
opinion.
comes standard, that's what comes standard, and I have to look through, but, I don't believe we have, everything will be the same as the Explorer that we currently have, and there's not
Okay.
carpeting at this time, so that's probably like the standard, but we won't have, we would just have,
Okay.
Rubber.
Okay.
Plastic.
And one more question. Are you looking at just putting a spotlight on the driver's side?
yes.
Is there a reason for that? I just wonder why you wouldn't have them on both sides.
Right now, there's an extra cost to a second spotlight, and we don't have a reserve program or anything at this time, so we're not gonna utilize that. Not that I wouldn't, hope to see something in the future to be able to have that, but there's no way for the driver to access that across the computer, so it'd sit unused at this time.
It's just a minor thing, I was just wondering if. Okay, thank you.
At this time, are we going to make the decision of which car we're gonna get, or are we gonna let the police department make it?
No, we're gonna make it right now.
We're gonna make it?
I think the hybrid's a better choice, honestly.
Oh, I do too.
Absolutely.
I do,
100%.
yeah, I was gonna say,
And
as long as we all see that.
And I
What
think-
do they think, these two? Kathy and, Mike.
Kathy, which car do you think is the best choice?
You're asking me?
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know, to me, I had really know very little about the hybrid. You know, if it's gonna charge itself when it sits there and idles, that's a major big deal to me, because I know in the past, we used to have a lot of problem with our cars overheating if we ran them too long. So I would take that into consideration. It'd be less gas expense, I think, for the village.
How about you, Mike?
Are you asking me?
Yes,
I can hear you. Are you asking me?
Yes, sir.
yes.
Okay. I'm not really sure because I don't know the research behind it. I don't know as far as like the hybrid, as far as a consumer report on these types of vehicles, or what's gonna happen, or what. I'm not really sure. And for me, actually, I'm thinking, I got more questions as far as if it's not nickel and diming us, and are we buying it because we're anticipating like a future problem with our vehicles? I mean, that's where I'm at right now. So I'm not quite there yet on
Usually.
needing a vehicle unless I get sold it, you know, like,
Well,
not sold, not yet.
How old is our newest car?
Newest,
Our one is a 2015 and one is a 2017.
17, see, it's been a long time since we,
15. So Chief Mealeader, when he was here, wanted a new one, and I was able to talk him into pushing out for 3 years. So it is on the capital improvement plan to purchase a new police vehicle next year.
Okay.
How many miles do we have on our cars?
How many
know
miles?
right off?
They're both at approximately 71,000 miles on them.
We used to run our cars before till it was over 100,000. I know that's about the time we start probably nickel and diming you, but
Yeah, and
Okay,
but that
the
doesn't
fewer
account,
miles
like you
on it.
said, for that idle, that sit time or that run time. So,
I like the
Any
idea
further
of
questions?
hybrid.
I would further add that with the savings in the police department we've had this year, kind of being bare bone, I think now would be an apt time.
ample,
Um,
an appropriate time too.
yes, that word as
That's
well.
not right.
To follow the CIP as well as use the funds we've saved. And
we don't use those funds. They'll be there next year, right?
Well, this price is only good till the 30th of this month, right?
and I
That's
think,
correct.
I think we will see some costs going up in the next year.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
That's, as well, and, you know, now that we sold the Tahoe, now we know what we're doing in that respect, we could possibly, I mean, I think we got 3,900 for that.
Well, and
So
if
this
they're
would get a
only
lot more than that.
yeah, because they're only at what you said 71,000 miles on them, so I don't see why you can't get a decent chunk of change back on them.
And they're always, good for selling, the law enforcement vehicles.
For
People
some
love to
reason,
purchase
yeah.
Do you feel it's a
them,
good
so-
investment, due to the rise in prices and stuff? I guess, I mean, I can understand that, I can see that.
I would think the price of gas alone
Right.
would make this car much better for us, and you still really have 2 cars left over that are very usable, so maybe
Hanging on to them for a while.
the chief, instead of any kind of a raise, could get one of the old cars to drive back and forth, you know? But I mean, you know, all that stuff is out there. We could make you drive one of those cars back and forth.
It'd
No.
handle a deer a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's got a-
I mean,
it's
it
got
gives
a
us 2
deer
pretty
rail on the
decent
front
cars
and-
left over.
Right.
And if we're gonna hire a part-time, you could actually maybe have 2 people out at the same time.
If you
Um,
needed to, you'd have 2 cars.
Yeah,
I'm,
You could,
we get money at the same
I'm for
time.
trying the hybrid.
I agree.
Agree too.
I hear a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion that we purchase the 2022 Ford Police Interceptor in the amount of $35,649.
I'll support.
Is there support?
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
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 That's unanimous.
Okay. That makes it
Can
unanimous.
we,
Do you need a roll
can we go
call?
roll call on that since there's
I
money
think so.
involved, please?
Lois Tiley,
Yes.
Diane Dennis,
Yes.
Christine Newman,
Yes.
Richard Horner,
Yes.
Michael Nesbitt,
Yes.
Kathy Harris,
No.
and Sarah Tiley.
Yes.
Is that a kind of a budget amendment?
Motion carried. Let's move on to the next item on the 2022 meeting schedule.
Looks good.
Doesn't fall on any holidays.
It looks good until we change it.
Yeah.
Not even close to the 4th of July this year.
Hey. There a motion to accept the new schedule for 2022?
So moved.
Support?
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
I didn't hear what that was.
It
Oh,
was
that
for
was-
the meeting schedule, approving
Oh.
next year's meeting schedule, sorry. Forgot the mic on.
We all set on that one? Okay.
You guys okay with that?
Let's move on to departmental reports. DPW report. Any additions to what you have in writing?
No, that's what happened last month. If you got any questions?
I know. Have you ever considered having like one more yard pickup because the leaves didn't fall until November this year?
Haven't
We
filled in.
don't, we pick up,
We always have leaf pickup.
we don't.
No.
We don't, they do.
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't,
When
They have
they
yard
come around
waste
and
through
get
the-
them,
they have yard waste through Mid-Michigan Waste and then they can haul them out to the leaf pile.
yeah,
We don't,
okay.
we don't wanna get into that business.
Well, there's a bunch of people on my street too that have decided to put out, limbs.
Oh, you're talking brush.
Yeah, brush.
The brush pile, they can.
But they could have put that out in time. It just depends on when you wanna cut it down. So they chose to cut it down after November 1st.
So, but they are welcome to, if they call the village, they can haul it out to the brush
Mhm.
pile themselves, so,
Okay.
yeah, so.
It's not locked anymore, is it?
It's not,
Okay.
it's,
Oh, it's paved, because it's
Yeah.
paved.
we don't wanna advertise that, but it's open.
Okay.
You did now.
Yeah, sorry.
But,
Good job, you guys.
no,
Very good.
we're doing the best we can, and, like I said, we're getting pretty much ready for winter right now, so equipment's pretty well ready to plow.
We have all our salts.
Yes, well, we got our first delivery, which
Okay.
we have plenty.
Well, you're gonna be disappointed, there's not gonna be no winner.
Won't break my heart.
I was gonna say, that'll be okay.
I don't mind my own winners.
As long as you got that antique dump truck running, we got it made.
Last year, right now, that'd be this last year, well, that's one more year.
Well,
think you
you
did-
better start building up that equipment fund.
We're trying.
Okay.
Ain't hard.
Yeah, oh yeah, Don.
I know it can be done. This is-
We'll try our best.
Okay.
Any other discussion on the DPW report? Let's move on to the police department report. Any questions on that?
I have a question.
Question, go ahead.
Down in the employment where you're gonna interview, can I ask why you're having Ethan interview for police?
I think he just wants to sit in and kind of learn and observe. He's not actually interviewing, he's just gonna. be-
Okay, did you consider, using someone from the council who might have been a police officer?
Last time we interviewed, we talked about council, so I have not changed from what we did last time, so, but I'm
Okay,
open to
We're
whatever
open to it.
suggestions you guys have. We just kind of just did what we had done last time, so.
okay. Well, I just thought that Kathy might be a good interviewer because she was a police officer.
Kathy, would you be interested on being on the committee? Are you available in those dates?
We were breaking up, hon, I didn't hear everything you said. Sorry.
The interview process for the police officer,
What dates are you doing it?
the 17th and 18th November. I don't know if we have times. We have,
Right now, we're just the 17th,
Yeah.
but I
Sure,
I still
could
have
be.
to kind of.
Or is she hunting?
are you hunting? Are
What
you,
what days are those? I'm looking at my calendar, but I turned my phone off, so I'm trying to turn it back on.
Wednesday,
Wednesday, Thursday.
Wednesday, Thursday, definitely, yeah, I could do that.
We'll send you the times and the applications or in the resumes.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good. Mhm.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the police report? If not, let's move on to the building inspector report.
I like the report, by the way. I like the format of this report.
Oh, thank you, I'm glad. We'll learn.
Your list is short.
Well, Scott, all you've got is a bunch of people going to attorneys.
There's a little bit of hesitancy about moving forward with that because we are in the process of redoing our ordinances.
Without saying too much, don't say too much, but, how do we do this? Legal non-conforming becomes an issue if it is in place prior to the new regulations and the rules or the ordinances. They would then be established, therefore we cannot go after them.
So then we don't take them to court, is this what you're saying?
We
It's
are,
the smartest
you will
idea.
probably see a little bit less on Scott's complaint log, until we have new ordinances so that we have some teeth behind what we're able to do, rather than they were established, they are now legal non-conforming because they were established prior to the new rules. I think that's probably the way to say that.
Okay,
Okay,
I got it.
well, you can only do what you can do.
That's all I like to hear.
3 of them I never noticed, there's just one that I do. So,
6:30 or the other one?
Really?
If social pressure did anything.
Or the Flint Street?
it's the Flint Street one. I actually thought 6:30 looked a lot better than it used to.
Yeah, they need to cut, and they ain't
Well,
doing nothing with it, though. It's-
Soon it's gonna snow.
Oh, that's
It'll
one way
look
of
like
looking
something
at
out
it.
there.
Never thought of that.
And on the backside, you'll see.
And what happened to all of the building permits we had?
Winter's on it. Winter's here.
It was going so good there for a while.
Well, it's, the village is actually the only place that's currently slowed down. Everywhere else around us is picking up quite considerably.
Okay.
It's just the time of year, that's all.
Getting materials is a,
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're all set, done with the reports. Public comment? Step up.
I'm Brian LaFrance. I wanted to find out about sidewalks all the way down this apartment complex down here. We're gonna have another fatality if we don't. You had the Glardy kid come up where he got killed on that curve down there. I get up 4:30 in the morning, leave at around 5. And, there's people walking around that curve that early in the morning, and then at night, they're walking on the side of the road, on the wrong side of the road when I'm coming around. I'm not the only one that run into this. And now we have an Amigo coming down the road, and we have the colored guy that's blind. I know you guys had to see him. He comes by here quite a bit going to the dollar store. I'm gonna offer to give him a ride when I can help him out. You know, it's just, we gotta do something. The kids are walking right down the middle of the road now too. Somebody's gonna get hurt, and it's not gonna be good.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever seen it.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you were talking about Ithaca and
Yeah,
Spruce,
right down here.
Okay.
And that's where, I don't know, remember if it was Mike or Dave Glardy. Chris, you should remember that.
I thought the boy was killed closer to the.
Diane, you remember that?
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
And it was on that
The other
curve.
one was out
They're
on
cut through the woods for the football game.
It was David.
Yeah, David, yeah.
David that lived right here.
Yeah. We're gonna have another one down there. I mean, I've come close twice.
Well,
I wanted to get out and just chew their ass, but, you know, it's gonna get into another conflict about it.
So that's what my dad always said, coming up this time of the year to go to McDonald's at 7. The kids walk on Walnut Street instead of,
Right
I
down
mean, we
the
gave
middle.
them Maple Street sidewalks, and
Yeah.
they will not use
No.
them.
Well,
I don't make any difference
To
what you
speak-
give
to-
them, they
Here-
won't walk on it.
Here's one big problem, the water. When we get a rain, the water is probably better than a third out into the road. So they won't walk in the grass, cause if a car comes by, it's gonna splash them, so they're out in the pavement all the way. I mean, that's been ongoing down there, the water doesn't drain off there, Jay.
okay,
And that's one of the problems, they'll walk right down the road,
yeah.
but that curve is not good.
Well, I would point to that we're going after $220,000 to do sidewalks for the safe routes to schools. We just had our second walk from the park to the school. We're kind of building up our application. We were awarded $10,000 to go after the 220. It went really well this morning. All elementary school students participated. Mr. Moody, Mr. Benson, Josh Miller from the ISD, Tina Swanton from the Michigan Health Improvement Alliance. We're all working towards this grant from the Saginaw Foundation, so that we can do all the sidewalks up Maple, brand new both sides, and continue out on roads that the kids would use, so.
I mean, you got them partway right past here a little bit. I don't care if you guys run it through where my duplex is at. You know, something's gotta happen. I mean, that blind guy and the guy on the Amigo, they have no other place to,
And some of it, you're right, they're just in the middle of the road. Every morning, there's a student on a skateboard in the middle of 52 with his black shirt,
Oh, yeah,
black
with the
sweatshirt with
hoodie.
with his hoodie on, and
I've
you
seen it
can't
more
see
than
him.
once.
And it's a problem.
We agree. I do remember something about putting sidewalks through there, and where you're talking where all the water
I
is.
brought it up 2 years
Yeah, it's
ago.
very, very marshy and mucky and yucky through there,
Yeah.
but, that doesn't mean it can't be done with a lot of fill and put it in. Cause the other side of the road is where the houses are, and
Yeah,
you would really be
plus you
cutting
got the
into their
ravine
front
going
yards.
down right there
Yeah.
to the river. Best side would
So
be
it's
the
gonna have to be
cemetery.
on the cemetery
Yep.
side.
And coming up the hill, you'd be on the far side right on the apartment
Yeah.
side, they don't have to cross the
Well,
road.
see, we almost got a grant for it when they built those apartments, and then they cut that part of the grant out. So, not that we haven't tried to put sidewalks up there, but, and if those kids would just use Maple Street, they can spread out wherever they want when they get to the end of Maple Street. I don't understand why they insist on, they've gotta
because they're
cut through
kids.
all those yards anyway to get to that street. I don't think they're kids from out by, you guys.
No, it starts at the apartment.
Yeah, it
complex.
starts at the apartment, and
I
then
mean, it's not
the
just
cut-
kids.
But the kids cut across the schoolyard there to get to that street, and I don't understand why.
You got people living in there and don't have vehicles.
Well, that's
They
true.
can't afford
That's
vehicles,
true.
and they walk to the grocery store or the dollar store
Okay,
every other day to every day.
that's true.
It's bad right there with the deer, you come down that.
Oh, yeah, it's,
The
it's,
deer,
We do.
deer
there's more
territory.
deer this year I've seen coming around there than I've
Yeah.
seen in the past year.
I hear the
The
deer there
turkeys
with
are
school bus.
heavy this year too. But, yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah,
We
thank you.
need to look into something.
Thank you.
Something's gonna happen.
Thank-
And it ain't gonna be a good
Yeah,
situation, cause I
thanks
mean,
for bringing it up.
I've swerved out twice, and I
Okay.
couldn't understand it's dark, and you're
Yeah.
walking on my side coming into town.
There's a lot of
Something
people
we
in
need
those
We should
look into very
Yeah,
There is a
seriously.
lot of people in them apartments.
Certainly
And like
believe
you
that.
said, people that can't afford a car, you know, they walk everywhere.
Well, the blind guy, he can hear good, cause I'm watching, and he'll stop and he'll pull his stuff right off the road. One day I watched him go right off in the ditch over here where the water was, he got off the road, and then when I went by him, he moved to the other side of the road, on the wrong side, cause he didn't wanna get wet.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's scary, that's for sure.
Well, I'd be happy to look into that,
Thank you.
absolutely.
All right,
Thanks for bringing it up, Ryan.
yeah,
Thanks, Brian.
yeah.
Any other public comment?
I would just add, Christmas trees we're down to, I think, 3 or 4. 4 left, pretty.
Oh, but we got them.
We got them, even though Charbonneau is closed, they still donated, 35 trees and 10 wreaths.
Great.
We are working on the parade, trying to get people to join. Last year was last minute, and a lot of tractors came, made it really nice. I'd like to announce that Lois Tiley has been named the person that will be turning on our Christmas tree at the tree lighting ceremony at 5
Oh, in the
o'clock
park?
in the
Yeah.
park.
Well,
Low study.
Well,
didn't know about
congratulations.
that. Thank you.
So that's good news that I thought should be
I would
highlighted.
like to know when the next meeting for the parade is.
Anytime you wanna call me.
Well, it's not, maybe another one before the parade.
We've kinda just took it over last year and kinda going with it, talked to the Lions Club a little bit, but I will let you know, I think we're having one the first Thursday in December. I'll have to get you the dates and times.
All right, yeah, that'd be great. I'd like to get to that.
Anything else?
Have a happy Thanksgiving. Eat as
You
much as
too.
eat as much as you can,
Oh,
Pardon
yeah.
me?
with being comfortable.
Every
That's
day
the
is
plan
Thanksgiving.
anyway.
Pardon?
I said, that's the plan. Eat as much as you can.
I hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support?
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See you all next month.